Okay, and we are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome to those of you who get the opportunity to join live. Welcome to those of you who are joining after the fact. And just welcome to everybody. This is Malika's Flex, and we are on part 7 actually with Is the Grass Truly Greener on the Other Side. Today we are joined with TravelProfeMo, aka Monique, and we'll be talking about Japan because she left her good country, Jamaica, to go all the way to Japan, and we want to discuss that a little bit more today. So let me quickly say that if you have not yet, please like this video. If you have not yet subscribe, share the video, and also if you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the post notification bell so that you will never miss an upload from me. Anyway, as we always do, I'm gonna allow Monique, aka Travel Prophet Mo, that's her YouTube channel name, and we'll talk about that later on, to introduce herself, and we'll get on with it.
All right. Good morning from my side,
Oh yes.
and good evening from everywhere else. So my name is Monique. I am a Jamaican, authentic Jamaican. That is.
Okay.
I used to live in Jamaica, and I moved to Japan in 2021.
Oh wow, it's been a while.
Yeah. So I've been here almost 2 years. Can you believe?
Yeah, yeah.
Almost two
Well, I
years.
was thinking that it was 1 year.
Mhm. Almost 2 years. And so I was a teacher. Well, I am a teacher. I used to teach at the high school level in Jamaica. Before that, I taught in Colombia. So I've been away before,
Yeah,
and the experiences are totally different, though, like from one extreme to the next.
yeah,
However, both countries have their pros and their cons, and
yeah,
it's a liberating feeling and eye opening to actually go to another country, live in another country, learn people customs, and you realize how small your world is and Jamaica is. Like,
yeah.
it's amazing. So I encourage you to at least live abroad once in your life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
no, I'm teaching at the senior level, so only 10 grades 10 to 12. No.
Okay, in Japan.
Yeah.
That's nice to know because I think most people that I know of that are teaching in that side of the world, they're teaching like younger kids. So it's good to know that you're actually teaching the older kids. So that's something to talk about. All right. So you already stated that you went to Colombia. You were teaching in Colombia, so you already got that international experience. So what motivated you after going back to Jamaica? So you were in Colombia, you went back to Jamaica to teach, and
Mhm.
now you're in Japan. What was your motivation to leave Jamaica to once more go to another country to teach?
All right, so backdrop. So I love traveling, right? And
Mhm.
like growing up, I always wanted to be one of three things: either a linguist, a journalist, a teacher. I
Mhm.
put in pathologist, but yeah, that wasn't really among everything else. So,
Yeah.
but really, until I wanted to be a linguist, journalist, or a teacher.
Right.
And I like exploring culture, not so much the food, but like places and finding out about the history to understand why people behave the way they do, and to
Mm.
just gain more appreciation for where I am from and respect other people even more in terms of
Right.
their tradition and custom. So uh I love Spanish. I really love Spanish. I've always wanted to visit like as many Spanish speaking countries as possible. So I went to Colombia. That was my first time ever traveling. And I
Right.
went to Colombia. So my father was like, oh, like why if I'm sure I really want to go there because based on what he's heard about Colombia, it's dangerous and whatever. And I'm like, hey, Jamaica, you have dangerous places in Jamaica, but if it is that we're gonna look at that, then we're never gonna travel. And I
True.
don't want to be trapped in the mindset or be fearful of what I don't know, and my experience can be totally different.
Right.
So that was my major reason for going to Colombia. Then after Colombia, came back to Japan. And first of all, I don't like to stay one place too long. So as long as I think I've served my purpose at that place, then I just
Mm-hmm.
want to go somewhere else to experience something different. And
Okay.
in Jamaica, I one of my friends was actually in Japan on the JET program. So she told me about it when I started my degree. And she said, Monique, she got through to go to Japan. And I'm like, Japan? And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, girl, I think you should probably look into it. So she said, okay, she'll give me some information based after her first year,
Yeah.
and I can decide. And I'm like, okay, but I need my degree. So am I going to go ahead and then not complete my degree?
Mm-hmm.
I have the experience, but then most people still want the degree. So I'm
Right.
like, So I said to her, okay, I'll start the program at Shorted, big up all the Shorted eyes. So I'll start the program. So Shorted UE. Start the program. After I started the program, then she told me about it and I'm like, okay, I have 1 year left. So between that time,
Right.
2019, I applied, got through. I was supposed to leave 2020. And
Mm-hmm.
then COVID came. So
Yeah.
that kind of messed up everything. So they
Right.
deferred. Then after that, I'm like, okay, well, COVID is here. I'm teaching online at IMAC, and then I you told me about the master, so you were doing a master. And I'm like, Malika, yes,
I
remember
told you about the
telling
masters.
everybody, yeah.
Okay.
I asked about the master's program that you were doing because I didn't want to do
Okay.
Spanish again, and they told me about educational leadership,
Uh-huh.
and Tanya told me about the curriculum. So I'm like, curriculum. I think I probably want leadership because I
Right.
really want to be a principal. So
Or
I
something
was
in
like,
that
yeah,
sense.
in that side. So I'm like, okay, well, the program has delayed again. So let me just start the let me just start the masters. Started the masters, and then like the 2021, because it was really face to face, but because of COVID, it was online. So COVID was a
Mm-hmm.
blessing for me. And then I started the masters because it was online. I'm like, might as well use the time to, upskill. And then after I started, they delayed again. And then I'm like, okay, well, honestly, if they don't take me for 2021, like this is it. I'm just gonna take Japan off my mind and probably try
Right.
somewhere else. So I went ahead, started the masters. They said, okay, it's gonna be online. Started online in my final the second to last semester, because the last semester would have been the research paper. So the October, November, they messaged me, sent me an email saying, oh, I'm supposed to leave like in a couple of weeks. And I'm like, a couple of weeks? Like, I'm actually doing a program and the program won't finish until next year. They're like, well, if you defer, we're not sure if you'll be able to come again. And I'm like,
Mm.
Lord, what am
You
I
should
going to do with
believe
this opportunity? So I went on a fast and I'm like, God, like, tell me what to do here.
Right.
I'd applied for no paid leave. So just in case I didn't like it, at least I would be able to come back to my job. So
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, went ahead, got through the no paid leave. So I had to write like give ministry information on the benefits and all of that of the program and thing. Got
Mm.
the document from the Japanese embassy, the embassy of Japan, and submitted all the documents. Ministry approved the leave, and yeah, just like, hey, I'm gonna take this jump. And then I wanted because I was doing the masters. I know the pressure of doing working as a teacher in Jamaica and
Right.
then Louis, and I'm like, but if I get this opportunity, the workload is less here. At least I could focus on completing the masters,
Right.
still having my job, and I still have I'm on leave. So anyway you take it, I still would not be in a position where I'd be out of a job.
Right. And I want you to elaborate on that a little bit more because I literally, as you were speaking, I just jot that down because I'm like, okay, um, I think a lot of people are very apprehensive. Let me pause a little bit to say hi to Tony, who is saying hi to you. Highly blessed, aka
Yeah.
Yvette. Jadanique is saying hello to you.
Hi.
Um, right. A lot of people are apprehensive about leaving their country to go
Mm,
somewhere else because it's the fear of the unknown. But you
mm,
mentioned that you took leave without pay, which would mean that you would be able to go back to your job, I guess, if things didn't work out.
you know.
Can you talk a little bit more about that part so people who are listening in, specifically from Jamaica, could understand how they could perhaps go about that? Some people perhaps didn't know that this is possible for regular teachers. Talk about that briefly for us.
All right, so I must say, God bless and thanks to my principal at the time, because initially when I had signed up for the program, right? The vice principal, one of the vice principals at the school, she was like, so when I told her that, I want to go somewhere different, like somewhere where the education system is not the same, to see what I can take from there. Because remember, as I told you, I want to be a principal. So I
Right,
was saying, I want to try the different education systems to see the positives that I can get from these places to implement, right?
right,
So when I went to my vice principal first, she was like, it is not possible for me to get no pay leave, and why would I want to go so far? And she's not sure if they can hold my space and all of that. But I'm like, I've been teaching here for over 3 years at the time, so why
mm-hmm.
not? Anyway, so I was kind of like, maybe I should try somebody else
Did you
because
have
I
permanent
determined.
authority? Let me
Yeah,
ask
I
that
had
for anybody who's
permanent.
wondering.
Yeah,
Okay, so
I
you
was
had a permanent
permanent.
authority. Okay,
Yes,
continue.
so I said to her like, why not? So she's like, oh, based on what she knows, ministry wouldn't approve it and whatever. So I'm like, but I'm actually learning about other cultures, other way of doing things in terms of teaching, and I'm going to be contributing positively to the Jamaican education system. So that's a win-win for everybody.
Right.
Anyway, she said no. So I said, okay. But I had sent, she said, oh, you can still send it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to send it. So I sent in the letter. I don't know what happened at ministry. And people, you have to listen, you have to be like constantly calling ministry. And I would suggest that you try to find out who is in charge of your school or your region and get
Right.
a number for that person, because you will, for me, initially, I sent down the letter. We sent down the letter from the school. I don't know what happened, but we didn't get a response. So I kept on saying, like, why haven't we got anything? And the time is winding down, because remember, initially I was supposed to leave earlier, right?
Right.
But actually went through the process of doing all of that. Ministry said, oh, they didn't receive the document. But I'm like, but the bearer brought it down and somebody signed for it. So what's the problem? Oh, they
Mhm.
don't know. So they said, okay, I have to redo it. But I'm like, but I'm leaving in a couple of weeks. Like, how am I going to do all of this? And the principal, she said to me, you know what? Apply, you have 4 months leave. So why not try to get your 4 months leave and then take the other 8 months no paid? So I'm like, and she's like, but you're young, like go and explore. Don't let nobody deter you from doing
Hold
that.
on. Hold on. Let me pause a little bit. She said you had 4 months leave, and then she also encouraged you to take 8 months, so that would be 12 months, right? So how
Yeah.
you had 4 months and you were like working for 3 years?
No,
And for
because
those of you
no.
listening, I'm asking Monique this question because if you're not from Jamaica, after 5 consecutive years of teaching, we get 4 months. We're able to apply for 4 months of paid leave. So that's why I'm asking her this question. Right. So you say you were working for 3 years. So how would you have that 4 months in the back?
So all right. So remember, initially when I had applied, I would
Right.
have been 3 years in.
Oh,
But
but
when
by
I
the time
got,
progress.
yeah, so by the
Got it.
time everything actually worked out, I was 5 years in.
Wow.
So
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Got it. Get it.
So
Yeah.
I remember I was from 2019, and then I got
Yeah.
to, and then I actually
2021.
left 2021. Yeah. So
Right.
she said to me, because I was telling her before, because she was new at the time. So I said it, and she's like, "Hey, try doing it this way because I mean, you've earned the leave, so why not try to benefit from it?" So she said, "Or if you want to go straight, no paid, fine. Maybe that would be approved quicker than actually paid leave."
Right.
So I told her that we sent all the documents, nothing. So she said, I know somebody, I know the lady in charge. So she called, I was in the office and she called and she said, "Miss so and so, Miss Collins we sent down the leave like 2 years ago, nothing happened. Like, what can you do? Because like she needs to go."
Right.
And then the lady said, "Well," so she was saying, she said, "You can still apply." So she said, "Okay." But so she said, "Do you think it would be a wise idea for her to um apply for the no paid? Would she get through quickly?" So the lady
Mm-hmm.
was saying, "Oh, based on how ministry does it, is like they have a budget for the like number of teachers that can get leave at a particular time and all of that."
Yeah.
So she said they have closed off on it. So she can try, but it's highly unlikely that it will go through.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, so I said, "Well, regardless, I just need to leave, but I need to have something in place because whether I get the paid leave or no paid, that doesn't
You need
matter. I
something,
just need to be able to say, okay, if I go,
and it doesn't
I
work out.
and it doesn't work out, I can come back, right?"
Right.
So she said, "Okay." So she did the paper. She said, "Okay, call this person and tell this person that I said XYZ." So we called. She said, "Okay, send the documents to this person." Went down there, went down to ministry, sent in the documents. There was this guy there, and I was explaining the situation to him, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna definitely keep you up to date." And he did. So thanks to that gentleman. I don't remember his name.
Mm.
So he did, and he said, "Okay, I'm gonna push it through for you." So he sent it to the lady that we spoke to. She signed off on the like it didn't even take not even 2 weeks. Because as I said,
Wow.
I won't say exactly when I left, but based on when I left,
Yeah.
like it was I was going to leave like in like 2, 3 weeks, and she just made everything work out.
It
The leave
happened.
approved, got everything.
That's good. When it's your turn, when it's your time, it's
Listen.
just your time.
Mhm.
Um, all right, so you left Jamaica, you went to Japan, and I'm gonna ask you to briefly explain that process. But how long was your plane ride, and how much did that cost, and what was your travel route?
All right, so let me start with the process. So first you have to apply online. So there are many programs to come to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
However, the best program is to come with the Ministry of Education in Japan. That's MEX, right?
Oh, MEX
They
as in
pay the best.
MEX,
MEXT.
MEX. Okay,
T.
cool. MET,
MEX.
spell it.
MEXT. MEXT.
MEXT. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So there are many programs. However, the dispatch companies, they don't pay very well,
Mm-hmm.
and you would have to find your own airfare back and forth. So remember that the jet program, they pay for your airfare, accommodation, well, accommodation for orientation, and then they also find accommodation for you, but you pay for that yourself. So first you apply online on the jet program website. It's a very tedious process. Let me tell you, listen, Japanese, they're very meticulous and they're rigid. So if you don't put the paper in a specific order, just know that thing will be declined. Like
Wow.
yes,
Nossa.
they are like that.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very structured. So I applied online on the jet program website. You have to do a statement of purpose. So the first step is you apply online, you write a statement of purpose. There are a lot of documents to sign. If you have to do police record, a medical, but you do the medical closer to when you're going to leave. What else did I do? Yeah,
Did
I
you
think
have to validate your certification?
no, no.
Okay.
So what we had to do is you had to get the transcript mailed to the embassy of Japan
Oh.
from the school that you're going. Yeah. So your transcript, the statement of purpose, you sign up the application forms, and on the application form you can choose. You have 5 or 4 choices of, like, probably prefectures. So we call them in Jamaica it's parishes. We call them prefectures here, of
Hmm.
prefectures that you'd want to go, right? Not because you put them on the paper, it doesn't mean you're gonna get anywhere there.
Oh.
So let me just make that note. Yeah. Some people do, most some people don't. I won't say most, but some people don't. After you sign up the forms, you have to drop them off in person at NCB Towers, because that's where the Japan embassy is.
Right.
In that's New Kingston? Yeah, New Kingston, NCB Towers. Then they will send you an email to let you know if you have advanced to the next step of the process. For the statement of purpose, you have to include, like, why you want to come to Japan, your purpose. As it's a statement of purpose, that what are you giving to the system? What do you hope to? Because what
Mhm.
they're trying to do is build cultural awareness. So when you come here and you are exposed to the culture, you're supposed to go back home and share about, the wonderful things, do's and don'ts and such in Japan. So you have to do that. After that, you go to the second round. Is they'll send you an email to let you know if you've been shortlisted. After you've been shortlisted, so there are two options. Even if you're not shortlisted, guys, don't give up, because you can be an alternate. Meaning, if it is that someone who is shortlisted should probably have some issues and they won't be able to go on the program again, or they change their mind, then you can get that position.
Mm.
Yeah. After they send you that, then you do an interview. The interview, let me tell you, is it's done at the embassy. You have to, well, I think the panel was like 4 or 5 people,
Mhm.
and they ask a question about, if you know the Japanese education system, like things that you intend to put in place, your teaching experience, and just about Japan in general, like certain tradition and customs, because I said they're very structured, and they take pride when it comes on to um their social norms. Let's say that.
Right.
Yeah. So after the interview, then they let you know. They'll send you an email to let you know if you get through, what you're required to do, and it's a lot. Let me tell you, it's a lot of paperwork. Like, even signed up for the program, like, it was very tedious, a
Yes.
lot of paperwork, and when you come here, it's even more paperwork. Okay, guys.
Wow.
Yeah, there in terms of paper. Oh my god! But yeah, it's worth it. And what else you asked me?
Okay. So that was a sign up process. I was asking how long is the plane ride, and how long was the plane ride, and how did you get to Japan? Like, did you have to go through a particular country?
Mm.
What was the airfare cost like?
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. So the so after you get through, remember you have to do a medical, like a full checkup. You have to do police record. Or I think they probably get that information. No,
Mhm.
because I came during COVID time. So Japan, like when we came, it's so funny because when we came like the Monday morning, I think. So we
Yeah.
had a Friday,
You did what? The
and we left
Friday?
Friday. So we left the Friday. We went to the US. I went through the US. Some persons went through, I think, Panama and Germany, but I went through the US because I had the US visa and I couldn't bother with the changing
Yeah.
up and all of that. I'm like, nah. So I went from Jamaica to the US. Then, so that's 4 hours. Then, so went to JFK, and then from the US to Japan, which is 14 hours.
So
Child.
you're not paying for 14 hours?
Yeah, and this was during COVID. So it was just,
Wow.
yeah, it was long. I slept. I was like, oh my, I didn't really sleep because, to be, I paid
Yeah,
for
it's kind
the
of
atmosphere, like,
the one that's supposed to play and run out of what run out of. Like, wow. What were the airfares like at the time? How much did you pay in airfare?
the ride is 18 hours, like total. So 4 hours
Right.
from Jamaica to US, then 14 hours from US to Japan.
Or I don't remember if you said that Jet paid for the airfare or if
Yeah,
you
so
had to.
for the airfare, Jet paid for your airfare
Oh,
and round trip. So once you complete the year and you don't break contract, they'll
right.
pay for you to also come back home. But they pay for you.
Oh,
So
that's nice. I like that.
but you have to
I
go back to your
really
home
like
country though.
you have to go back to your home country after a year or
No, you have up to 5 years.
okay, so after 5 years you have to there's no staying in Japan.
No, you can stay if you find other jobs, but of course you have to know the language and
Hmm. But with the company itself, you have to go back
yeah.
because it's a
No, they
cultural.
have opportunities, you know. You
Okay.
can work like with directly with the Board of Education or
Hmm.
yeah, you can work with the Board of
So
Education.
after being there for a while, you'll know the system and you work it out from that end and you get to stay
Yeah.
for a much
You
longer time.
can.
Okay.
Mhm. Or you can
That's
switch
so good.
companies.
Um, I don't remember if you had said earlier on in regards to apartment hunting or do you live in an apartment or a house? How does that work? Did Jet help you to find it? How was that? What was that process like? Your living arrangements.
All right, so they work out everything for
Mm-hmm.
you with regards to apartment. So I live in a house,
Okay.
and the house. So how it works is depending on the prefecture that you're in. You
Mm-hmm.
usually the Board of Education is responsible for us,
Okay.
and every situation is different. So for me, my housing is not subsidized. Some persons' housing are subsidized. So my school, so the Board of Education is responsible for us. My school is in charge of the housing. So when I
Mm-hmm.
came, I had my apartment already. I actually saw it like a week before coming to my placement city. So
Okay.
they start that out. You have
That's
to
nice.
pay it though.
You
Well,
have to
I
pay
have
for your housing.
mine, yeah.
Is it expensive? Like you don't have to state your rates, your figures if you don't want to, but is it expensive?
No. All right. So so a point to note with renting in Japan or leasing, your so you have something called key money, right? So some persons, if it's on an apartment complex, you have to pay like probably 2 months deposit. Some persons want 3 months deposit. And you have to pay key money, which is basically a thank you gift to the owners of the property for allowing you to um, rent or lease their space. And it's quite expensive.
How about you tell me thank you for renting your place? Because at the end of the day, you're the one benefiting from the money.
Yes. So and also usually they recommend that you take 2,500 to 3,000 US, but
Mm-hmm.
most times you actually don't. Sometimes, as I said, everybody's situation is different because it depends on where you work and your BOE.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily need so much
Mm-hmm.
money, but please change out your money into yen because Japan is a cash society. They hardly use cards in
Ah,
places. So, especially because most of us are placed in the countryside, it's
right.
difficult. So,
That's
make
interesting.
sure you have your money.
How much
Yeah,
money would you say somebody would need as pocket money when they arrive? Because of course you wouldn't be paid until like a month after you get there, right?
yeah.
How
Let
much
me
money
know.
would you say one would need as pocket money, right off the bat? Because, when you reach, you may need to purchase a few things to your apartment, like little things, like maybe a broom and just simple little things. How much money do you think people would need?
I would say at least 1,000 US. I'm
Okay,
not saying you can't. Some people don't spend anything at all. Like sometimes
right.
because we have predecessors. So sometimes my predecessors, if you get through to them before, they
Mhm.
will leave a lot of things here for you. So
Nice.
you don't have to purchase certain things.
But just in case, at
I
least
would
a
say a
thousand
thousand.
US. Okay, to get by. That sound, I guess, reasonable. Let's talk about the school side of it. So you got into the country, praise be to God. What was your biggest cultural shock when you started working at the school that you're at? I mean, I know that there are probably several, but what would you say was the biggest or the first shock that you received?
Ah, what would I say? I would say just how they do things. Like, all right. So for us, all right. First of all, the staff room setup. So the vice principal is actually in the staff room,
Okay.
and we're not in cubicles. So it's basically like desks beside each other.
Okay.
So everybody, like, everybody is just seeing everybody, so you don't really have like a private space per
But
se.
it's kind of like that in
And
Jamaica, right?
no, so wait, no, so remember the vice principal is in your space like all the
Right.
time. So whatever you do, like everybody is seeing you, and they have this thing where you will be you'll just say everybody leave the staff room. So they have a meeting, everybody leave the staff room, and you're looking around like, okay, where's everybody going? And nobody says anything to you.
Wow.
But they went to a meeting. And then after that, so you have to ask a lot of questions too.
So there's not like an email sent out that, hey, we're having a meeting. You just have to figure it out. That's weird. And then,
Yes,
in
I found that
Jamaica,
very annoying because I
yeah.
was like, okay, but at least somebody can say, listen, we're gonna have a meeting now. So, well, probably I guess they assume that we should know that, like, although in yeah, I guess they assume because we did have orientation, but I'm still expecting you to tell me, like, okay, you can come here if you want, you don't have to, you know. So that for me, and just the staff room setup, like, it
What do you mean you
was kind
can
of
come if you
weird.
want?
Because some meetings, remember, it's all in Japanese, so really and truly,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
not.
that
It's
part.
not really Oh, and another thing, I think probably the biggest culture shock now is the vice principal, the principal, and the teachers. They clean the staff room and like the major passages.
So there's
Same
no
with the
janitor?
students clean. No. So that was weird for me to see. I'm like, eh. Well, yeah. They clean the school, and listen, they don't find those things menial. So they take out the trash. They have days
Mm,
when different persons take out the trash, whether that be the vice principal. I've never seen the principal take out the trash. I've mainly seen her like the gardening and those things around the school.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So and like the
JM. So
front
that's
office, yeah, and the front office staff is responsible for cleaning the bathrooms.
so.
And
What do you clean, Monique? What have you been cleaning?
we don't have to because remember we're foreigners, so
Right. So okay.
yeah.
So special
But
treatment.
yeah, but I usually help the students clean. So when my students are cleaning, because they have cleaning time,
Mm-hmm.
when they're cleaning, I would go with them like in the bathroom. So the girls would clean the bathroom, the boy would do
Mm-hmm.
like the passages, the windows and such. So
Everybody works. Students, adults,
everybody,
everybody.
everybody.
What
And
about
I
like you
found
have
that
like a front office staff
yeah,
and they clean as well?
yeah, they're responsible for the bathrooms and the front office and the main passage.
This is new. This is definitely new. 'Cause from I've interviewed other people from other countries, and this is definitely, I mean, I've heard other new things, but this one I think takes the cake. This one takes the cake. I mean, when we were discussing our cultural shocks in the US, and One of my guests even said that she cried when she realized that she had to clean her own classroom, but you're here saying everybody has to clean down to the bathroom.
And no problem. Like they find, and remember, so this is a part of their culture. And I
Yeah.
think that is why, like Japan, honestly, like Japan, when I say clean,
Mhm.
Malika, if you see garbage on the street, because even in my community, like it's probably either some stranger or some wayward person,
Mhm.
Japanese, but listen, they take care of their spaces.
Wow.
And nobody looks down on those things. Probably Jamaican. Some Jamaican, I would take back that. I definitely take back that.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That's that is something. That is definitely something. All right. So you I'm still processing that. But okay. All right. So you went there alone. Would
Yeah.
you how would it work for somebody who is going with a family? Um Husband, can you bring a boyfriend?
I don't know what the you can, but so you can carry your husband, your partner, however, and I think more likely husband than partner.
I'm just
The partner
asking
can
because
visit. The partner
yeah,
can visit, but in terms of husband, you have to pay for everything for them. So
okay. That's fair though, because they're not the ones going to work.
yeah, and they can get work when they come here.
What about children?
Yeah, you
Can
can take your children.
do they pay for the like school fees for the children? Is it free? How does that work? Do you know?
Yeah, the system for schooling here is, well, I'm not sure if it's free for like foreigners, but they do help you. Like they help you to get your children settled in school and all of that.
Based on because of course this program is called Is Grass Truly Greener on the Other Side.
Hmm.
Based on what teachers, foreign teachers earn, would you say that it would be wise? And I always ask everybody this question because I want to know, because I know somebody out there wants to know. Would you say
Hmm.
that it's wise for a baby mother with her perhaps two children, maybe one's under 3 years old and one is perhaps a little older? Would you say it's wise for somebody within that category to migrate to Japan? Would the system be flexible enough to accommodate that person, and also would the pay still be good for that person?
All right, so again, it depends on where you are, because you have some places that the board of education, they'll do everything they can for you,
Hmm.
while they have some places where they're not so flexible.
Welcome in. Hmm.
So it won't be hard. And then, like, to get your children in school, and you have to know Japanese, because again, everything is in Japanese. So how are you gonna
They can
manage
get
to
assistance there, right?
most people are working. And another thing is, you see, because the teachers have long working hours, it's kind of difficult for them to assist you during the week.
I mean, I was gonna ask about your working hours, but since you went there, what do you mean by long working hours, miss?
So for foreigners, we're
What's your work
foreigner.
schedule like? Uh-huh.
So we go in at 8:10, 8:20, sometimes
Hmm.
8:35, depending on the school. So the principal at the school will tell you what time is your starting time and your ending time.
Right.
So, but generally it's between 8:20 and 8:35 if you're at a regular school, because you can teach at like night schools. So you have different schools. So for the regular schools, as in like day schools,
Hmm.
you start at 8:20 and you end at 4:10.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, but for foreigners, but like for the teachers, so
Hmm.
they have a very not so favorable work culture, like for the like
Hmm.
regular teachers, because they'll come in like 8:20 in the morning, and sometimes even 8, 10 o'clock at night they're at work doing what only God
When
hears.
do students leave?
Students leave at 3, so school ends at 3:25.
So why are teachers there until 10 o'clock?
Because of the work culture, so they have this thing where it's honorable to not leave before the vice principal or the principal. So everybody will stay. And how Japanese are, They
That's
work as
another culture
group.
shock.
They work as group, so they have this collective mindset. And remember,
Mhm.
nobody wants to stick out, so they don't do individuality.
So do you honor that code? Do you stay beyond your work time?
No, 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 no.
I know they come out fast, see?
Only the only way I stay is if, like, if I'm doing calligraphy club or tea ceremony club. So the clubs
Right,
I'll stay back for, and I'm not staying beyond like 5:30.
right. So what are these teachers really doing? Like if they're waiting for the assistant principal to leave, like what are you really doing?
Sometimes they have nothing to do. Sometimes they have club activities. So all right, so you see, oh, in Jamaica where we have like some teachers are assigned. You can choose if you want to be like the head of a club
Right.
or the faculty advisor. In Japan, they have to be in charge of a club.
Mm,
So whether it's a sports club, so whenever the students have training, they have to be there. So even on weekends, they have to go to school.
do
But
that.
sometimes they get like a little stipend for going on
Mhm.
weekends. My teachers told me. But yeah, so like they always have something to do. Even if clubs are over, they have something to print. Sometimes they genuinely have nothing to do, but
Right. You just there.
nobody wants to leave before that
Hmm.
time. So they stay and I guess
That's
fiddle.
interesting. I wonder how that works when you have like a family, like
I,
just thinking about the Japanese teachers, like
I just so you know, most Japanese in terms of marriage, like from my school, a lot of them, from my two schools, a lot of them are
Mhm.
married. And I ask them that all the time, like, when do you get to spend time with your husband or your wife?
Right.
Because if you leave school at this hour, like by the time you get home, you're tired. You just want to sleep and
Exactly.
you're back at it again. Like, but it's yeah,
Exactly.
that's what it is.
Hmm. Whew. All right. So that's the work hours. How large are your classes?
So my class size, not very large, like max 40 students.
That's a lot.
And no, but listen, so it's 40 students. However, they are divided in two. So we have upper, so like we
Mhm.
have, say, first grade. So we'd have 1-1. You
Mm-hmm.
have the upper level of 1-1, the lower level of 1-1. So
Okay.
they kind of split them. So I'd
And
have
so
like
at different
20.
times.
Yeah. So I'd
Okay.
have like
So at any
20.
given time, you'd have like 20.
Sometimes I have the entire class. Sometimes I have the entire class.
Nice.
Like for
That's
my
a lot.
third graders, usually have the whole class.
How many classes do you teach in all?
No, I'm teaching about about 15, between 10 and 15. It's not a lot though.
Different grade levels?
Yeah, first, second, and third grade. So that's 10, 11, 12.
Do you have to plan lessons for those classes? What's the lesson planning like?
Girl, so that's the best part about working as an ALT. Well, for me, it's not easy. It's not
Mm-hmm.
hard, I mean, sorry. It's not a lot of work. And so, how it works here, because you're an assistant language teacher,
Okay.
right? So you're supposed to team teach. However, depending on the teachers that you have, some of the teachers they don't want to work with ALTs any at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Because one, they don't want to use the English in class, and once you're there, they're forced to use it. So they try to avoid. Some of them try to avoid teaching with you
Right.
altogether.
I guess they don't want to be embarrassed because naturally you are the native English person. Um,
But that's why we're there to help.
so
That's our purpose, like to help you.
no, but I can understand their situation because all right, I teach Spanish. However, if I'm in my country teaching Spanish and there's a native Spanish speaking person, I would want them to take over because you know I would prefer if they take over if that's a
No,
thing.
but they still have to teach. So remember,
Okay.
how they do the classes is grammar, communication, which is the speaking part.
Mm-hmm.
You have like reading and writings, right?
Okay.
We are supposed to only go to like communication class. If you want to go to other classes, some of them will accommodate you, some of them won't.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, the students need to know the language, they need to speak it. And for like when the teachers are teaching, based on my observation for my classes,
Mm-hmm.
Like the entire class is in Japanese. So you see how when we are being assessed, or even if we're not being assessed, we're supposed to like use certain commands, the Spanish, or do certain things. They don't do that. So the students will not. They'll have classes and they don't hear our own English. So it kind of defeats the purpose.
Yes, it does.
So what I do is you can negotiate with your JTE and say, you want to be the lead teacher for the classes that you share together.
Okay,
Some
got
of them
it.
will allow it, some of them won't. Some of them is like you're just a recorder in the class. Or repeat this sentence from the book, and the students are gonna. I'm not on that. Like,
Yeah,
hello, no, I don't do that.
I want to
So
teach
for
you
my
real English.
classes, yeah. So for my classes, I tell them that listen, I'll plan. I'll show you the plans. You tell me what I need to change based on probably students'
Right,
level or whatever it is. So I
right.
lead my classes and the other teachers would help. So like to give out papers, or if it is that the students are not understanding certain things, then
Mm-hmm.
I let them translate. But most of them have this tendency, as the English drop out of your mouth, them drop it in a Japanese for the students. So guess what?
Oh wow.
The students do
Your
nothing.
grammar
They're just listening.
translation happening.
So I don't like it annoying. So I tell my teachers like it's okay. I'll go through the hassle of making my lessons
Yeah.
and I try to do lessons that they don't do. So
Mm-hmm.
mainly is, as I say, it's mainly like chalk and talk. And that's another culture shock with in the schools. Like it's like
No
straight grammar. They're
differentiation.
good with the grammar. But you see, like
Mm-hmm.
speaking and other things.
Call it textbook English.
Yeah.
Textbook English, not
So I
real
tell
English.
them, no. So I'm like, no, no, no. Like the students can do it. And then because my school is lower level schools,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to tell us like, oh, the students can't do this, so they try to dumb down everything. And I'm like, the students are not dumb, and they already know that they're at a lower level school. Like, why are you enforcing it even more? Like, no. So I
Right.
do my lessons. The lesson plans are not difficult because I do mainly like how we plan activity in our department. So activity
Mm-hmm.
based, fun kind of things. So I did
Right.
vision boards and things for them to actually express themselves and to
Yeah.
actually learn about them. Because I
Mm.
think that's the problem. Because the system is so passive, so it's whatever the teacher say goes and that is it.
Right.
The students never really get to talk, and then again because of their culture, even if then so and Malika, they will know what they need to say, and
Mm-hmm.
the students will never say it. It's like you have to say to them, okay, you have to choose somebody. Like, hey, Ramu, what is this? And then they'll say it. I'm like, but you know the answer. I'm like, so why didn't you say
Yeah.
that?
They're shy, I guess.
Again, it's their culture. They're shy.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are shy. And for me, I have two like complete opposite schools. So my agricultural school, like the students are active and they just go with the flow. They always want to talk to me. My next school, regular school, they're like, nobody says
Another
anything.
type of
I kind
school.
of, yeah, but I've gotten them to really like,
Yeah.
talk now and think so.
So it sounds like, for the
Good.
most part, because I like to discuss student behavior in these countries, it sounds like they're quiet for the most part. They don't
Not
give a lot of trouble. They're not disrespectful or anything like that. Um,
generally, no.
mm,
I don't have that problem any at all. Like as
okay.
I tell you, most of the students, remember they're passive, so they just go with the flow. Like, okay,
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
yeah, it's
Um,
just problems. Mm-mm.
what about the way you dress? Is there a particular way in which you have to dress? Can you wear jeans to work? I see my friends in China sometimes with their ripped jeans going to work. Yes. And I see my friends in China putting up, on their WhatsApp status or their Instagram. They can wear ripped jeans to work and um short shorts to a certain extent and certain things. What can you wear to
Mm.
work? Or what should you wear to work?
So, in terms of dress code, they're not really for my schools. They're very casual, mainly like sweatpants, and you have to cover up.
Mm-hmm.
In
What
so
do you
it
mean
depends
cover?
on the
Because what was your
season that we're
school?
in.
Let me see a
I
sleeve.
can wear like
You
sleeve
can
like
wear that.
okay.
Okay.
So it depends on the season too.
Mm-hmm.
So like usually in in winter they'll have like
Naturally.
jackets, but it's not nothing fussy. Or you don't have to be in suit and tie. But some depending on the city,
Cool.
some
Mm-hmm.
areas you have to dress like that all formal. But like for me, only like for ceremonies. So the different ceremonies that they have,
Mm-hmm.
I would dress up for those. But otherwise,
Otherwise.
just regular pants, and I try to wear dressy tops. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is here, black and white. Like
I
if
was
you have
about to
pastel
ask
colors,
that.
like black, most of the things black and white.
I was about to ask because I've
Black
heard that.
and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's most of them black and white.
Because a friend of mine was, she went through the process. Unfortunately, she wasn't successful, but she was telling me that even the interview that she had with Jet in Jamaica, she did a little research and it was a good decision for her to wear black and white to the interview.
Yeah, black and like everything, and they wear suits. They wear a lot of suits. And look, once they have like a ceremony or something, you'll just see them in their
Good.
suits. They won't wear the suits come to school for my schools, but
Yeah.
we have like a changing room for teachers, so you
Hmm.
can hang up your suits around there. So whenever you have anything,
Events.
you just go over changing in
It's
your
not like
suit.
Jamaica where, if we're having prize giving, we like to wear a nice dress.
No,
As
miss,
in like
when they dress up like
bright colored
properly,
dress or.
the bright colors, and some companies will tell you outright like, oh, in the schools don't wear like bright colors. But for my school they don't tell me that, but I do wear them. But I just look weird because they're like, oh, this is how you dress in Jamaica, and I'm like, yeah, we wear colors.
Yeah.
They don't, it's just black and white.
I guess the tropical. I guess we're just very tropical, and they're not. What are the resources like? Do you have a lot of access to resources? How is that similar to or different from the Jamaican system where resources are concerned?
So I remember, as I told you about the system, it's really book, paper, pen, worksheet,
But like, do the
worksheet.
students have like laptops
They
working with?
started that
Do you
program.
have a
So
screen in your
mm,
classroom? Those little things.
yeah, so we have a screen. We
Mm-hmm.
have what you call that? PowerPoint?
Linear board
No,
or
what you call it? Projector.
projector.
So we have projector, we have the white screen. Yeah, that's basically it. You can get the tablets or
Mhm.
laptops to use. What they've started
Oh,
to
but
do
each
though.
student don't have their own device.
No, so they've started that
Okay.
program since last school year.
Okay, so it's trickling in.
So yeah, so what they're trying to do is get students to be more active
Mm-hmm.
and using their devices, but before, no. So what I do is I would usually like sign up for the tablets and take them to class so the
Mm-hmm.
students can actually use them to do their presentations and to like prepare their PowerPoints and such. Because that's the only way I get them to talk, and I have to do like mainly group activities because otherwise you don't really get them to talk. But in terms of resources, you can get the thing, they can get the printing and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like it's really commonplace, but it's something that they are introducing, which I'm really happy for.
Happy about. Okay. Somebody asked this question when we were doing the live on Dubai, and I think it's a good question to ask. No, is
Mhm.
there maximum age or cutoff age to apply? Can I apply at age 50, 60? Um, is there any bias towards age?
Honestly, I'm not sure, but
Okay.
I've never seen like a really like 50-year-old.
Mature person.
I think probably like mainly 30s, 20s,
Okay.
30s. Yeah.
All right. What are the general requirements? Do you need to have a certain amount of years of experience? Do you have to have a degree? Do you have to have a teaching degree? Talk to me.
All right. So you have to have a degree. It does not necessarily have to be in teaching. However, I realized that, well, based on the last conference that we had, they said they're trying to hire more teachers. So even if you don't have the experience, but you have a teaching degree,
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to hire mainly teachers. No, usually it was like once you have a degree, but I think they realized that that system is not really working because
Right. You
other
need
people
people with
aren't doing what they're
experience
supposed to do.
teaching
Yeah.
or some knowledge.
So they're starting to hire mainly
Teachers.
teachers.
But it's not to say that if you have an engineering degree that you can't apply because you could still perhaps get through.
Yeah, but I think they really honestly, because most of the persons who I know who have applied
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have a teaching degree or experience, they ask them, okay, if you have the degree in another area, you need some teaching experience.
Okay. So one or the other. Something has
Mm,
to, show that you have some knowledge of teaching somewhere, somehow.
yeah,
But
that's
if
what
I
they do.
have a but you're saying that if I have a teaching degree, I don't need experience. Even if I can apply fresh out of college.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need the experience because I
Okay.
think what they're looking at is the fact that you would have had the methodology,
Right.
you know. But if you have a degree and you don't have the methodology, then
Right. Because some people that they went to teachers college, but they didn't actually practice afterwards. They probably went into somewhere else, and maybe they want the opportunity,
mhm.
and they want to know.
But I
Um,
think mainly though they're taking people with with the experience. I think
mhm,
you'd more get it over someone who just has a teaching degree.
yeah. What's the main thing that you miss anything about Jamaica?
Yes, you
What do
gotta
you, what do
ah,
you
the
miss?
the food, my
Uh,
family,
hold
my
on. Food.
cooking.
Is it easy
Mm,
to find Jamaican spices?
nope.
Okay.
Especially because I said most of us are placed in the countryside. That's one, and
Mm-hmm.
two, they don't have a lot of international stores. So you'd have to probably like go to the city or
Mm-hmm.
one of those city like area.
Mm-hmm.
Might see them, but it's mainly international stores, and yeah, you don't really find much Jamaican. No, no. But you have people online like Jamaicans who would sell things, but of course you know it's gonna be cost you a pretty penny.
Right.
But yeah.
So travel with your spices, people. All right, I'm gonna ask you two more questions, and then I'm gonna ask people in the comments who
Mm.
do have their questions to drop them there. So we're getting towards the end, you guys. So please put your questions in the comments. It's time to do so now, so we can respond to them. But one of my final questions to you, one of two, is what are your holidays like? How many holidays do you get? Those things are very important. We want to know.
Very important. So
Yeah, man.
okay. So this part, people. So in Japan, we do not get the summers that we're used to, the Christmas break or winter vacation that we're used to. So what happens is here it works. So we get 20 Nenkyu, right? Which is casual leave. So you get
Mm-hmm.
20 casual leave for the year,
Mm-hmm.
and you can use them throughout. You can carry them over, but you can only carry over a maximum of I think 20 days,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't exceed 40 days altogether. So if you have more than 40 days, you'll only get 40 unless you use them up before. We do get 5 vacation days in summer, and that's about it. So that's 25 days. Yeah.
Okay.
So
But
so
but not
if
like
like
jumping
if
off
you're
the
sick,
sea note.
yeah, if you're sick, that's the only thing I'd say. Like is it's just a con for me because I'm
Right.
like, and the funny thing is, my like when
Mm-hmm.
we go to school on these days where the students are out, sometimes I understand that the teachers have to go in because, as I said, remember the teachers are responsible for clubs. So if the
Right.
students have to come to practice, then they're gonna need someone there.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't have anything to do like ALTs unless they probably volunteer to help with something or whatever. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have anything to do, and we have a term called desk warming. I think in
Right.
Asia it's known. This is where we literally sit at our desk and warm the desk. So we do nothing. So unless you have like
Okay.
courses you want to do, and that's the thing, you have a lot of downtime. So you can take advantage of your downtime to
Downtime.
do courses or things online. You can't make it
Mm-hmm.
too obvious though, because sometimes
Right.
they be like, "Oh, you're doing this and you're not supposed to do it," whatever. But
Right.
yeah, so you'll be at your desk and you're not doing anything. So you're just there until 4 o'clock. And you have to stay for the entire time, unless you're going to take days. Oh, so for your days, you can take it in hours. You can take like
Mm.
2 hours.
Mm.
But
Yeah, got it.
you don't get all this. So if you want to travel or such, what we try to do is, but they have a lot of public holidays.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably that kind of covers for it.
Yeah,
Oh well,
summer holidays.
students wouldn't be at school anyways.
Right.
Summer or yeah, all the other days. And they usually use that time to plan for the following term. So what we do is you have like Golden Week, which is like 3 days of
Mm-hmm.
like holidays, and people usually travel during that time. So like in May, like May, I think it's second, third, fourth, fifth, something like that. Yeah, I think it's third, fourth, fifth. Or go. So we call it Golden Week because we only basically work for 2 days out of the week.
Okay.
So if you want to like travel, you have to like work around
15 at that
those
point
kind
in
of times
time.
where we have holidays. So like if it's a long weekend, you you're planning
Like
your
work it out.
trips and such.
We're not going to Jamaica at that time because that would be another how
It
much
wouldn't make
hours trip. So mm-mm.
it wouldn't make sense either way because remember, basically 2 days to travel. So 2 days to 2 days from. So
Mm-mm.
that's what 4 days already outside.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
make
The
sense.
next question was about health insurance. Are you provided with health insurance?
Yeah, you pay for it. It's pretty expensive too. I don't know
You have to
why
pay
it's
for that?
expensive. Yeah, they pay a portion and you pay a portion. So if you go to the doctor, I think it covers 75%.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so you pay a small fee. And so the Lashoy mentioned about sick leave. So sick leave, you can get sick leave, however, you have to get a report from the doctor. So I
Okay.
had to take sick leave recently, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when I called my supervisor and I told him, hey, I'm not feeling well, I'm gonna go to the doctor. So one of my other
Mm-hmm.
teachers brought me, and she was saying to me, Money, you know that you have to get the doctor to actually sign to say like he recommends that you take X days off. So I'm like, really?
So I can't just wake up this morning and feel sick.
You're gonna have to take your casual days.
Oh. So I
So
can call in on spot for casual days.
it is not recommended because, as I said, remember, they
No,
do
but there
know
are
things in
days.
advance.
There are
But
days when you wake up and you didn't expect to feel sick, and you just wake up and you feel really no. You know what I'm talking about. Like you have those days when you just wake up and for some reason you didn't have any symptoms before, and you just get up and you realize that you
Mhm.
have a strong headache, fever, perhaps. That happens.
You can take the day, but you're gonna have to use the casual days. So, and for the sick leave, you can take it, but you're gonna have to use the casual days. So for the all right, so typical example to show you how they are in terms of I don't know, like they're thinking. So in January we had a snowstorm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the students, so they sent out, and so what I love about them is you have applications because remember it's a disaster prone country, based on the
Okay.
location.
Yeah.
So you have applications on your phone that will alert you for anything that is happening. As soon as something happens, whether a
Pops up.
fire, earthquake, anything, you get it on your phone right away. So they're very efficient where that is concerned.
Okay.
They had a snowstorm, so they told the students to stay home, right? So I'm saying, okay, if the students are staying home, then the teachers are gonna, yeah. Well, I'm assuming that the teachers would have said, they're like, no, 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 the teachers have to come inside. So I said, oh,
Them
wait.
people are wickedly.
Yeah, and the road was filled with snow. And I'm like, so I'm supposed to leave out my house at this time. No students are at school.
Uh-huh.
I'm supposed to go. And they say, yes, I still have to come, or I have to sign up for the day.
So
But I
what if
took
you
like
have a
2
child?
hours.
Because if school is out for children and you have a child, are you able to bring that child to work with you?
I've never seen that. But I'm not sure how that part works. Maybe I have to take a days.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
like when it comes down to those things, like the students will get the advantage of, oh, all right, don't come in because it's dangerous. But
Yeah. So I
first,
would preserve my day, my casual days for days like those.
yeah. Oh, so I
Yeah.
was telling you about the sick leave. So
Mm-hmm.
similar to Lashai, the doctors, when they're writing a sick leave, they write, if you don't want them to know your business, nobody go on, nobody take no sick leave. Because
Wow.
they write out everything, the what you came for, the symptoms, what they
Wow.
suggest, like it's a detailed report. So I
Wow.
was
I don't
like,
like that.
oh yeah, and privacy doesn't exist here for foreigners.
Wow.
Let me tell you that. So if it is that you have something that you don't want anybody to know about, don't bother go telling your supervisor. For the most part, because some of them will hold it down, but
For the
majority,
most part, it's everybody's business.
yeah, your business is everybody's business. So,
Wow.
and they'll even call the places that you go to. So I went to the bank once to, and that's another thing. People, it's hard to open a bank account here without like a supervisor or anything, because you have to be in the country 6 months before you can actually
So
open
how
a
do you
bank
get
account.
paid prior?
If you have to go with somebody from your company or your school, then they'll open it.
Okay.
And of course, if the people, if they call and say, "Oh, this person," and they usually want to know where you work.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, if the school can call the bank, because I had that issue, but I didn't use somebody from the school.
Mm-hmm.
I used another friend, an elderly lady. She knows English very well, so she could assist.
Right.
And they called, so I told them that, I didn't get through for XYZ. And they called the bank, and the bank told them who I came with, how long I stayed, what I did. I was annoyed, but I'm like, after a while, as I
Okay.
said, you just tell yourself that, listen, all right, if it's something that I don't want anybody to know, then I'm either going to go far, or I'm not going to
Mm.
say to um anyone at school.
Okay. All right. I see Jananique in the comments. She was responding to the thing about bringing your child to work. She said, "You can't bring your child to work as they might not be insured, and they are scared of getting in trouble."
Oh, we have a
Wow.
couple of participant. Hello, thank you for joining.
Yeah. All right. So you spoke about not necessarily needing experience, but needing a teaching license, the teaching degree, or some teaching experience and a degree. But Wester's Corner is asking, I want to know if I qualify to teach English in Japan as a high school teacher in Ghana. So this person is in Ghana, and he, I assume based on the picture, he wants to know if he would be eligible to teach in Japan as a Ghanaian person.
Ah, have I think so. Just
Once you
what
qualify.
I suggest that once you're qualified, check if there's a JET program in Ghana. Just type in
Oh, so
JET
there are
program
different jets for different countries.
countries. Yeah, so it's
Oh,
based on where you are, and you have to do everything, the application process from your home country.
um,
You can't do
got
it
it.
elsewhere.
That's good to know. Okay, because one would think that okay, you just sign up online and they'll take care of whatever, but you're saying there's a jet set up in different countries.
Because remember, as I tell you, they're very structured people. So you see, even
Hmm.
when you're coming, you have to come from your home country. They send everything to the home country. You
Yeah.
have to do like I guess like a welcoming ceremony with the head in
Hmm.
your country, the Japanese representative in your
Wow.
country. So like, yeah,
Big
you have to
thing.
do all of that.
Jadanik was saying that her biggest shock in Japan is
Mhm.
having to change shoes 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
One shoes for the gym, one for inside, and your outside shoes.
Yeah. You have to have a gym shoes different from the shoes that you wear in the corridor,
Yeah.
different from where sometimes even in the bathrooms. So some
Hmm.
bathrooms, at some schools you have to change
Mhm.
your shoes to go into the bathroom.
Yeah.
And even
I
in
guess it
house,
goes back to what you were saying about their cleanliness.
and even in restaurants, you do that in restaurants as well here, Some restaurants you have to change your shoe to
So
go
so
inside.
it doesn't make sense to wear my nice heels.
No, 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 miss. You can wear it, what I mean. Unless you can take pictures outside, that's fine. But in
Mm.
some restaurants, some they allow you to wear your shoes inside.
Jadenico's also adding
Mhm.
that in Japan they prioritize work and not family, and the society is not family oriented, and that the system is rote learning, and there's nothing in place to accommodate differentiated learning styles.
Yeah.
Oh, she came with Interac,
Oh, she
but
came in
she's
there.
now working at an international school in, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Osaka.
Yeah, Osaka.
Osaka. Okay. That's good to know. All right. I don't see any more questions in the comment section. You guys remember Monique is here to respond to your questions. If there are no more questions, we are going to allow Monique to talk about her YouTube channel because she does have a YouTube channel. Um, you know what? In the meantime, because you may be thinking about your other questions, Monique, go ahead and talk about your YouTube or your social medias where you want them um to contact you and keep in touch and all that you're doing. Also, the link for her YouTube is in the description box already, but go ahead and talk about Travel Profit Mo.
Okay, guys. So I haven't been consistent on my YouTube channel, to be honest.
So it go.
I would, yeah, I'll be working on that. Um, but you can look at the content that I have so far. I'll be sharing more in terms of my experience here, different areas. So like living conditions, norms. Because as I said, like Japan, they're very particular with a lot of things. Even garbage disposal, like everything is just so structured. So I'll be sharing some of those. I'll be sharing some places that I'll be traveling to
Mm-hmm.
soon. And yeah, so if you have any questions, you can send them to me on Instagram at
Mm-hmm.
Nessa Patience in Peace or at
Mm-hmm.
TravelProfeMo, which is also my Instagram page and my
Mm.
YouTube channel.
Awesome. Hi, Natasha. Thanks for joining. Oh, you were about to say something else, Monique.
Yeah. Oh, and I was going to say, you should consider coming to Asia, and just even if not Asia, but explore the
But Natasha
world.
literally just said, I'm sorry, I will never teach in Japan. But now, like, Monique, it sounds stressful. Like,
No, all right.
it sounds stressful. It doesn't sound like the grass is greener to some extent. So it sounds like money wise, cool. But
Mm.
like work wise, I don't know.
No, like no, but remember, the workload. Like honestly, the workload is like really light. The only thing is that because they have like the collective mindset and they have so many like social norms and
Mhm.
they take pride in these things and
Yeah.
they're very rigid. That's the only thing. But I think once, because a lot of things used to annoy me here. I'm like, but why do we need to like why you can't answer? And they're not very straightforward people, so they try to avoid conflict. So you see, even
Mhm.
if they want to tell you something and they're very passive aggressive, some of
Ah.
them. So
Oh, that was another question.
they won't say it, but you have to just kind of like read the room and be like very aware. Like if you don't learn
Mhm.
nothing else at Japan, you'll learn how to be self-aware.
Mhm.
Like even with your neighbors, like they'll be smiling with you and they want to, and I think they're probably saying, this girl is uprooting everything, that kind of way, but they won't
Yeah.
say anything to you. So like if you don't know, and guess what? I think they expect you to know everything, and I'm like, but it doesn't work like that. And remember, we're from the Western world, so
Yeah.
we do things differently. We're more outspoken. Because even when I came here, they're like, "Oh, I'm too serious," and I'm like, "No, but we ask questions." I said, "I'm not asking questions for
Mhm.
you to feel belittled or anything. Like I'm a
I just
genuine
want to know.
no, because that's how we find out information. We have to ask." But they're like, "Oh, but this is how it is," and they can't really explain. Like a lot of things, if you ask them, they cannot explain it to you. and they don't try to find out. So because they don't want to seem as if, oh, I don't know, so they prefer to not ask any at all.
So they feel intimidated by you
And
asking a question when
ask
you
that.
just
Yeah, so
innocently want to know how the things work. One quick question though, as we're wrapping up, because I forgot to ask this. I asked the Chinese people this. When I say Chinese, the
yeah,
Jamaicans
the
in
one
China
for
this, and the ones in the UAE this. And now I'm asking you in Japan. Do you have a racial issue in Japan?
it exists, but I've never other jet participants have, and like from other companies have experienced it,
Right.
but I haven't experienced it per se.
Mm-hmm.
But it, yes, it very much exists because they're a xenophobic society,
Mm-hmm.
so it exists.
Did you have
And let
students
me tell you what I don't.
living?
The problem that you have with them is they're so close-minded, because somebody will tell you they'll never leave. I mean, they really don't need to leave Japan, but some of them will tell you, "Oh, we'll never leave Japan. So why is it that we need to know this?" Or they're not willing to like be accommodating or exposed to other culture. But you really have some like really nice, like I've met some destiny helpers here, and trust me, I'll never forget them.
Mm,
Amazing people.
okay.
So with everywhere you'll experience that. Thank God I haven't experienced it. But you have
Yeah.
like people on the train saying certain things, but of course they're talking in Japanese. So
Mm-hmm. You
even
don't
if they,
even.
I don't know. I just know enough to get by.
Yeah.
But like,
Like my friends in China
mm,
were saying that, on the road, sometimes people stop them, to take a look at their skin and they want to take a picture. Does that happen in Japan with you?
yeah, they do. Like even though, and that's
Do
why
you
you
take
can't
pictures of
hide.
them?
Yeah, I do take pictures of them sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't. And they'll ask me like, oh, because remember tell you, we're mainly in the countryside. So if you're in the city, you see a lot of foreigners.
Right.
But in the countryside, they hardly see um foreign people. So even like my students and their parents, they're like, oh, they've never seen a black person in real life. So, they'll ask me questions, but it's not anything for me to feel like, oh, bad about or whatever. So I'm like, hey, I'm a celeb here because
Yeah.
blah,
I
blah,
understand the
blah.
curiosity. Curiosity
So,
is fine,
yeah. They
especially
hear,
if
they
you
don't touch it though. Cause remember, they're a culture
okay.
where they don't touch. So it's really like bowing and such. So in terms of like very close contact, we don't
Mm-hmm.
really have that. So I'm fine with that.
Okay. Okie dokie.
Yeah. It's good,
Guys.
guys. Come, trust
Mm-hmm.
me. Like honestly, as I said at first, it's uncomfortable because remember it's your learning a new culture, learning new way of life, not
Mm-hmm.
social norms, and you see, as long as you respect their culture
Mm-hmm.
and you respect like the social norms, you won't have any problems
I
here.
know that you said that somebody could bring their spouse, but is there or are there opportunities for the spouse to work?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, man, because they have a lot of like private dispatch companies,
Okay.
teaching companies. They have a lot.
No, but what if because you said to teach
Oh,
in
they
here,
don't have
what if the
teaching.
spouse don't have a degree?
It's gonna be hard unless you know Japanese. It's gonna be
Mm,
hard. So you can probably work in a factory or such, and
yeah,
other like companies, but it's just that you have to know the
the
Japanese.
language.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
and it's not easy to learn. Let me tell you guys. Hello, these characters and like three systems. Hello. Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
but it's possible.
Okay. All right. I think I've asked everything that I had on my list to ask. Guys, if you haven't liked the live yet, please
Yes,
like. If
please
you haven't
do.
subscribed, then subscribe.
Trying
Mama
to
to
hit that
Malika.
notification.
Right, all those lovely things. But we're gonna say goodbye for now. So thank you so much, Monique, TravelProfeMo. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Um, I Natasha say I love the cleanliness, though I am germophobic too. Yeah, I will never forget the whole thing about you guys cleaning though. Like that is definitely a takeaway from this. Um
They're very
Jadenique was
clean.
saying if you are young and want to experience, please use Japan as a transition phase. It's difficult with a family. So yeah. Hi, Julian. It's okay if you're late. You can run the replay. You can replay the thing. But we're about to go. So thanks again, Monique. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Let's see if we can have another guest on next week for another country. Thus far, if you guys are tuning in for the first time, we've done the US, we have done China, we have done England, we have done two
UAE.
parts in the UAE. We've done Abu Dhabi and we've done Dubai. Now we're doing Japan. No, we've done Japan. And let's see where in the world
Else
we'll go
we'll
next.
go. So you
This
can look back, guys. There are a lot of opportunities out here. Do not limit yourself.
mm-hmm.
Remove fear. Like the fear will cripple you. So I'm telling you, go out there, explore. You'll meet so many amazing people. You'll become more appreciative of Jamaica and our culture, the food, everything. So go out there. Go out there.
Is the grass greener on the other side, Monique?
Yes, it is. It's just that you're just so far away.
Okay,
It's more
yeah,
easier
yeah,
for me to like go back home.
yeah.
Yeah,
Then
that's the only
fine.
thing in terms of the
Yeah.
distance.
The distance
And
rough.
yeah, cost of living can be high here too. So I'd suggest that you do your research, people. Please research before coming here. When you're using the dispatch companies for any program at all,
Mm-hmm.
please do your due diligence because some of these people are dishonest. And you need to be prepared just in case something should happen in terms of the funding and everything. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. All right, people. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, well on Monique. Because guys, this thing is actually
Oh,
20 seconds
slow.
delayed, It's 20 seconds delayed. Natasha was asking, not to stray from the point, what is the dating scene like?
Ma'am. All right. So it's actually easier for males to date Japanese, females, the foreigners, the males to date Japanese females. The Japanese males are not so open and they kind of, the thing is, in terms of dating is like very not so nice over here
Why?
because I think they have this thing where if they go out with you like 2 times. Oh, so let me tell you. So you know how we're used to whosoever when you're just going on a date, you would pay for your the male would cover the bill and all of that. Miss, here in Japan, you pay for your own meals. That's the
I
culture.
don't like that. I don't
But
like
when
that.
you're married, it's the woman that's in charge of the finances and everything for the men. So dating is kind of difficult. Well, I've never dated because I'm committed, but dating is difficult and just weird over here.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask anybody, like that's one thing they'll tell you. Date, especially for females here. For females, males not so bad, but for the females, nah, the
Wow.
dating scene is very difficult. And they'll go out with you like 2 times and then they ghost you. I've heard like a lot of that. So I don't. And
Wow.
then, as I say, remember, the Japanese culture, for the most part, they're traditional and most of them are not really accepting of outsiders being, in
Mm-hmm.
their family. So that's another thing to consider.
Rachel said, sound like dating grass is brown on that side.
It burn up. It's burnt.
Yeah, it
Mm.
sounds like dating in Asia overall is difficult for
Yeah, it
foreigners
is.
because that's
Mhm.
what my friends in China were saying, and I know that they try to date like other foreigners. Do you know about that? I know that you're not dating, but do you know
Yeah,
about people who
usually
are
it's
trying to date
better.
foreigners? Yeah.
But like to date an Asian, as I say, I think it's just like an Asian thing. It's
Yeah.
difficult because again they don't really go outside of their race like that. Only the ones
Mhm.
who are, it's like the ones who are well traveled or open minded, that kind of way. They're
Mhm.
far and few. Those will do that, but otherwise for the males, but for the females, it's easy for the male foreigners to get involved. But
I
yeah.
get you. I get you. The Japanese women are more open to that sort of
Hmm.
thing. Got
Yeah.
it. Do you have friends?
Here? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Like
They're not
friends like
near though,
you.
and that's the thing. They,
What do you mean they're not near?
because you see how they place us. Remember, it's based on needs, right?
Okay, maybe I should say, do you have Japanese friends? Like, have you made friends,
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
go out often with, and they're like
Older
your best
people,
buddies
but
now? No, listen, listen,
mainly older people, and they're nice. Like,
listen.
oh,
My good friend here is like 58. Okay,
yeah, that region. That's my region. Yeah, that's my
that's
region.
just how it goes.
Accent here,
That's just how it
that's
goes.
my region. But
Yeah.
they're really nice, knowledgeable, and they carry me to some really, posh places because I'm that type of
Ooh,
girl. So yeah, those are the type of places we go to.
okay, that's
So
nice. Nice to know
yeah.
that you can make friends there.
Mm.
All right, guys. You know what? Let me wait another 20 seconds because, like I said, it's a delay. I don't know if there's any more comments. If there are any more comments, but I'm gonna wrap up for the
Or you
like the
can,
third
yeah.
time.
But you
I'm gonna
can
wrap
always send something. You can always send me messages. As you said, it's in the description, so you
Yeah,
can share.
yeah. Remember to check our her Instagram if you want to send her a direct message. You can check our Instagram at TravelProfeMo. Same name that's on the screen. Yes, I'm gonna
Mm.
go again for the third time. Bye, everybody.
All right.
Ending the live.